Good evening, everyone. This was a LinkedIn survey we were talking about. It's not only LinkedIn who's sharing this information that we have to be very relevant with the artificial intelligence and machine learning tools. Any industry you pick, everywhere there's a talk of that, right? So we don't want to be left out. We want to be ahead of the curve. Because of career, most of the people want to upskill themselves. They ask a lot of leaders of all the organizations. So 91% of them agreed that soft skills are the most important, one of the most important skills that are required for the future. Soft skills are also called the people skills as well. Now, another thing that report of World Economic Forum shared was that by 2027, 43% of the work would be done by the machines and machines only, right? Then the power skills, human skills we discussed these were the big ones. I'll be starting with communication today, most important skill. So that is why I've kept it on the top. Communication is the most important skill. Then adaptability, critical thinking, leadership, creativity, decision making, teamwork, and work ethics, time management. These are one of the biggest top soft skills, human skills, people skills that are required for the future. Okay. And you will realize that there is nothing called perfection here. There is always improvement, scope for improvement for, let's say, communication, right? If we say communication itself, you will always have scope for improvement. With communication, I'm going to switch to our soft skills slider where these four skills I'm going to cover. And today is our day for discussing communication. Why? Because if you have a skill and if you're not able to clearly communicate, it is not going to help you, right? Even if you've acquired any other hard skill. Hard skill is like, suppose I've got a technical certificate. Oh, suppose I have got certain experience on certain technology, right? Or method. Unless you are able to clearly communicate, maybe it is in the interview, maybe with your boss, maybe with your peers, maybe with your subordinates. If you're not able to clearly communicate, you will always find yourself in a tricky, challenging situation or a situation where you think that probably you're not able to use your full potential. Communication is how we exchange thoughts, ideas with others. First is understanding your style, understanding yourself, how to communicate. There was a time when I used to talk very, very fast. And generally, we Indians, we generally talk very, very quickly. Now, when you're interacting with different geographies, you will find that people find it hard to understand you. So, for example, I'm explaining you something, right? I'm sharing something with you. And I am thinking that you are able to understand it, but I might be wrong till the time you have a clear understanding of what I'm trying to say. Now, I'm going to share with you what are the types or styles of communication. What kind of a communicator you are, you can also assess. Okay. So there are four types. Generally, there are four types. One is a passive. Or who's a passive? Basically, this person is like very easygoing. Okay. You talk to this person. It could be your boss, it could be your colleague, or it person could be reporting into you. So, what are the traits? Basically, this person would avoid confrontation. Like, suppose you are communicating with this passive communicator, and you say that I am not happy, but I understand that this is a company policy, but I am not happy. So if he is your boss who is a passive communicator, he will say, okay, not happy, okay, and he will not react. He or she will not react, right? He or she will not understand why you are not happy, right? Probably this person might know why, but they don't want to bring it up. Suppose sometimes you are sitting in an appraisal, right? You're telling your boss, I'm not happy because I didn't get a good appraisal. I've done best in my team, and these are my you have 100 data points to share. That these are the things, these are the things, these are the things, these are the things. So here, when you need to understand that boss is able to understand that or not, or if they know that you are done really well, but they don't want to get into that argument, they'll say, yeah, I know this is what it is. So this is the kind of person, and they're not good communicators, as you understand, right? Inability to say no. So inability to say no is for the people who are passive. They are easygoing. As I said, they avoid confrontation. They are easygoing, very amicable, and they don't make eye contact. right? They will try to hide their expressions, emotions. They will say, okay, if this is your boss, he or she might say, I'll check. Now, if he's not facing you and not telling the truth, what is the meaning of it? There is less truth in what he or she is saying, or they don't commit to what they are saying, basically. So understand that this kind of a communicator is there. We call it a passive communicator. Now, second one is aggressive. This is like my way or the highway. Okay. So this person will be very interrupting when you say, sir, I have a request, or there is one you have a reporting, like you are a manager and there is one reporting. And whenever I say, you listen. So suppose I am your reporting, I am reporting into you, you are my manager, and suppose I'm saying, sir, I want to request you this thing, and you will say, no, hear me out. I don't want to listen to you. This is what it is. Go back and do your work. And you will see that these kind of people are always there in the organizations, right? These are very aggressive people, interrupting when you are suggesting something or want to do something. Then there is a person who's not listening, similar scenario, and dominating, right? This is my way. This is what I have told you. Go back and work. I'm not going to listen to you. That's it. No discussion here. Don't want to listen, right? Forcing their own decisions. So these are aggressive people. And this is also a communication style in the organization. Fair? Then passive aggressive. Inside, they're very angry, but they don't reflect that. Negative body language. Now, suppose I give, so you are my manager and you give me this task, and I'm like, or I'll stare at you like this. So what is happening is, this is a clear indicator that I am not taking it well. Or I'll say, okay, sir, I'll do it. So that I am not welcoming the task that is given to me. I'm not happy with that, but I'm still trying to show, or I'm still trying to accept that, right? This is more of a little, I would say, a negative kind of a thought process, because you're not very direct, you're not open, you're not straightforward, you're hiding something inside. Okay. The most sought after, the most appropriate, the best way to communicate is our assertive behavior. What is assertive behavior? Assertive is something that you want to convey, but you use the right channel, medium, even the tone to convey that. So, what is assertive? So, assertive is more of a very positive, intentional, and very deliberate style of communication, where you have expressive, expansive gestures. Suppose you are my manager and I am your direct report. You have given me a task which is more like difficult for me to complete by the timeline you have given me. So rather than sulking about it, I can tell you, you've given me this task, and there's a timeline as well. I understand the criticality of it, but I already have 5 more tasks, and there is no way I can complete this 6 months. So unless you give me some leverage or leeway that I just put some tasks on hold and complete this one and move on. So basically, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I will not do it or I'll do it, but I'll sulk about it. I am giving options, right? I am trying to be collaborative. So there is another aspect of it, whether you are collaborative or not. And the third part of it is that how you're maintaining the eye contact. If it is friendly or not, it is something which is amicable or not, whether you're trusting the other person or not, or that person is actually trusting you or not. Second is listen. Now, a lot of times you would have heard this. You should listen more. You should listen attentively. But it's very difficult to envision how to practice it, how to implement that, right? How to actually put it into practice. Now, basically, listening is definitely, it requires a lot of patience as well as the willingness to learn. So let's understand the aspects first. So first of all, pay attention, right? What the other person is saying. And I sometimes do that, right? I'm not shying away. Sometimes I jump to conclusions when somebody starts explaining a problem to me. And the reason for it is, sometimes I see, oh, I know this. I have been hearing this problem so many times, right? So because I want to save time, that this person doesn't have to explain everything to me. I understand, I've seen this situation 100 times and I know the solution as well. So my challenge with this is that I assume things, and that's a bad thing to do. So it is very important that when you're interacting with anyone, Suppose it's a one-to-one interaction or it's a feedback session. Suppose your management is taking a feedback from you, or you are taking the feedback from your team members. It is very important to convey that I am very much focused on what you want to say, and be very patient. Listen very attentively. Because when you listen attentively, most of the times, half of the problem is solved. In fact, here is the fun bit. I'll give you an example where sometimes people will approach me and they say, this is an appraisal time. Okay. So somebody will say, come back and say, Nitin, I'm not happy with how my appraisal went and all. So what I should be doing is listening to them attentively. Basically, sometimes it's just they want to communicate, inform their disagreement, unhappiness to me, which is fine, which is not wrong. And if you are the one who's like people reporting into you, or you are reporting into someone, you need to also focus on the other person is saying. Sometimes you'll say, oh, I know this manager, what he's going to say, what is his intentions. I know, I'll just ignore that part, right? So no, I mean, you don't have to. Basically, you need to focus on what the other person is saying. Then no interruption. Then non-verbal communication. For example, I and you are interacting, okay, and you are saying something to me, and I'm looking at here, and I'm just nodding. Okay, you are here basically, right? I am here, and I'm just looking around. So what does this gesture tells you about? I am least interested. I am not very keen in listening to you, even if I am listening to you. Even if I am paying attention to you, these kind of non-verbal gestures will give an example that I'm not listening. Paraphrase or summarize, right? Sometimes somebody saying something to me, right? And I think I understand that, but I'm not sure. Or even if I'm sure, I want to confirm from the person. So just summarize and paraphrase like, okay, you want to say this thing to me, basically. Or what I understand you are saying is this. Is that correct? Right? So this way, the other person will say, yes, whatever I said, this person actually summarized it or paraphrased it in a way that, yes, this is his or her understanding of this session or the problem. So paraphrase or summarize that. Then eye contact. Again, it is very important, right? Then don't jump to conclusions. And this is, as I said, I'm not shying away from the fact that I am also a culprit to this, because I tried to not to jump to the conclusions, but sometimes because of shortage of times and things like that, I'll say, oh, okay, you want to say this thing, right? So this is something which is a barrier in communication. Let the other person speak. Sometimes people just want to share thoughts. Sometimes they just want to convey the message. Let them speak. Let them say. Okay, so jumping to the next section, which is non-verbal communication. Again, I gave you a example of a gesture. So we were talking about that example of you being my manager and giving me a task to perform, and I'm not saying anything, right? I'll just nod my head like, or somebody says that. Suppose your manager says, "Do you understand that?" and you say. So again, non-verbal communication is very as good as you say something. Your gestures, your tone, your pitch, everything has an important role to play when it comes to these gestures and all. Okay. So now, what are the kind of non-verbal communication or gestures? One is eye contact. Then non-verbal body language, expression, gestures, and reaction as well. Then voice and pitch. All right. Let me just move on to the next one. Non-verbal. I hope it is clear. Then clarity. How to be clear. So first of all, I don't know if you've observed people like they want to say something and they'll go in circles. Let's take an example for an interview. The interviewer asks you, okay, tell me, how did you improve the efficiency of your team? So you start, I'm a very analytical person, and I see things that others don't see. And it is in my genes that whatever I do, I can excel in anything like that. And I have been managing this team for last 5 years. I have been monitoring their progress, and then he will stop. You will say, there's a very specific question that how did you improve the performance of your team? How you build efficiency? So, when you are communicating, the clarity has to be there with the objective. What is the objective? There is a question that is being asked, very specific question. I have to give a very specific answer to that. That objective should be clear, right? You need to be very clear on that. Then know your audience. Suppose you are interacting with your direct reports. There are people reporting into you. Okay. And this team, they understand that you are the person who is very clear in his thoughts, and he or she wants to get the work done. Basically, when you say something, you mean that. So when you communicate with the team, you put some targets there. You can use, I want this done, I want this done, I want this done, I would like you to do that. Now suppose you're interacting with some senior folks, right? You won't go back and tell them, I want this, I want that. Even the addressing the people, like suppose in the team, I sometimes I'm casual, and I from a team member, maybe a manager, I'll say, oh dude, what's up, right? And this is casual, but it works well. Sometimes they like to have a casual conversation, but I can't go applying to my CEO or CFOs like, hey dude, what's up, right? So you need to know the audience. Organize your thoughts. Now I'll give you a great example. Okay, suppose somebody is asking you the question, okay, tell me about yourself. The PPF structure is present, past, future. Means what I'm currently doing, what I have done in the past, and what I would like to do in the future. Organize your thoughts. Then speak slowly. Then give examples. That what I've been doing is why I'm sharing personal examples, because you will also realize people can relate to that. Fair? Then ask questions. Again, when you want that people understand you clearly, ask those questions to them. Do you mean this? Does this mean this? Am I clear to you? Am I able to convey the right message to you? Ask those questions. Cool. Focus on assertiveness. How can we be assertive? Okay. So first of all, use the I statements. I statements means that I am committing myself. I am proposing this, or I would like to do this, or I convey this to you. It is something that I, as a person, is taking ownership of, right? Moving on. Clear and concise. Clarity we have already discussed, organizing your thoughts and all. And keep it crisp. Don't use extra words if you don't have to. Then talk on facts. People will believe you. People will understand you when you talk on facts. Suppose there is a disagreement. Now, suppose your manager says that, you have got the appraisal based on the performance you have done. This is the right appraisal. And you somehow don't agree to what he or she is saying. Now, unless you have the reasons, and what those reasons are, the facts, data points. I improved my productivity from this to this. I worked on this project delivering this profitability. I built this project within this timeline. These are the 5 things I did better than anybody in the team. Or from a management layer, this is the delivery I have done in this year. Now, when you talk about facts, when you talk about data, nobody can question you on that. So talk about facts. Then body language. You need to have the right body language. Suppose you are asking me a question and I am listening to you and I am nodding. Also, I am understanding. Maybe I am conveying, okay, stopping and just rephrasing that. Do you want to say this? This means the other person is interested and understanding that. And also, this is the perspective that even though I don't agree to you, but I still am interested in what you're saying, and I'm still very much engaged in our communication. And then saying no. Suppose your manager gives you a task which is impossible to complete by tomorrow, and you want to say no. Now, what is that way of saying no? You can say, no, I can't do that. Basically, straight away telling that person, will your main manager accept that? No, he will not. He or she will not understand why you are saying no, right? You can convey, boss, I already have 5 things on my plate, and it is humanly impossible for me to complete this task by tomorrow. Either I have focused on the tasks already on my hand. If you want me not to focus on the existing tasks, let me know and I can make that change for you. But I'll still try my best to complete that. Basically, what you're doing here is you're saying, no, I can't do that with my existing task. But there is a way of saying, you've been very assertive where the other person understands your perspective. So saying no is okay, but how you say no is also very important. Calm and composed. Keep your calm. Be it any disagreement, any challenge within the organization, with peers, anywhere, keep it calm and composed. Because when you react to things, probably there is another side, another issue. Sometimes people come with issues, personal issues to me, and they say, this person has done this much wrong. I said, okay, let me listen to the other person as well. And it turns out it's a very different story altogether. So we need to be very calm and composed rather than being reactive to certain situations. Because at times we are human beings. Cool? So that's how you can become a more assertive person as a communicator. Choose the right method, like the different methods, right? And how to choose that. Basically, what is the purpose and nature? Suppose I have to immediately inform everyone in the team that tomorrow is a holiday. One bit, I can message it on WhatsApp if I have a WhatsApp Teams group, right? But suppose I have to communicate a process change within the organization. I will draft either a document or a very formal email that this is the existing process, this is what we want to change in future, right? So it has to be a communication through email or a formal documentation. So purpose and nature has to be identified. That is that will help us making the right choice for the medium. Medium could be email, phone, verbal communication, in front, person to person, whatever way you choose, right? Even gestures is a mode of communication, right? Audience, as I said, for team, you are interacting in a different way, different modes as well. You can do a WhatsApp chat as well. You can do a Teams chat as well. Versus somebody who's a very senior person, you want to send a formal email rather than a WhatsApp chat. Then the urgency as well. Suppose I want to immediately inform somebody of something. Like I want to tell my boss that I'll not be available tomorrow. I'll send a text message. Maybe it's a Saturday evening. He or she will not be online. I'll just send, well, this is, I'm not available tomorrow. Just a text message. Versus, as I said, that suppose I want to propose an idea. I'll prepare something. I draft something. There's no urgency on that, right? Then complexity and ambiguity. If there is ambiguity, there is complexity. You can choose the right medium of how this should be communicated. Sometimes the privacy and security reasons. Suppose there is client information and you don't want other groups to be involved in your company, then you have to be ensuring that the data is secured and the client information is secured. So how you choose that medium also dependent on type of data, privacy, and cultural considerations also, right? What kind of people you are interacting with. So if you are interacting with somebody who's from US, they have a very open culture. You can address by first name, and still a lot of people would address me not by my first name in India, because there's still a formal culture. If you go to Japan or someplace, again, a very formal culture. So when you're interacting with people in different cultures, you need to understand what is the right medium for them. Then the last one is practice. I can tell you 100 things which are good. If you're not practicing, then it is not going in the right direction. So if you want to be a good communicator, which is an indispensable skill for the future, every company, every organization, every team needs that. So you need to be very, very sure of you are up in this game. You are leading this game, basically. And it is not something which is rocket science. You are not born with communication. You develop it. Thanks everyone. Thank you for joining me.